Welcome my friends, welcome back to Project TAS. If you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. If you've watched any of my previous videos, thank you for returning to my channel. Today we're doing another Blake 7 episode review from Season 4. As always, I will point out that this review will inevitably touch upon certain plot elements of this episode, and may even reveal developments for the series of Blake 7 as a whole. So if you haven't seen this episode or anything else in terms of Blake 7, a huge spoiler alert is in order in case you wish to do a bit of Blake 7 catch-up prior to watching this review. You have been warned. Right, let's get to it, shall we? Just as Headhunter gave Blake 7 a monster movie feel, Assassin attempts to conjure up a feeling of horror movie slasher-fic trepidation that isn't necessarily unwelcomed, but is fundamentally not what Blake 7 is all about. It also touches upon the whodunit aspect first explored in the not bad but not great Season 1 episode Mission to Destiny. Combined with the horror motif, it works better here. This might have even been an episode worthy of a star or two, if not for a couple of elements that not only remove that reward, but also make you want to throw your telly out of the window. For those who haven't watched this episode and don't know what I'm talking about, I will explain. Villa intercepts a communication that he plays to his comrades after he gets his fill of attention.
You all quite comfortable?
Villa.
Then, ladies and gentlemen, for your edification and delight, the voice you all know and love.
Villa.
The message is played.
Utilizer to Cancer. Utilizer to Cancer. Domo the Ninth. 5 subjects.
And despite changing her profile name, it isn't too difficult to identify the owner of the voice half a second after we first hear her.
Servalan.
While we have never heard of him, and neither have the majority of the crew, Avon is revealed as being a follower of Cancer and his reputation, and his acknowledgement that Cancer is a credible threat gives rise to the situation they now realise they're in. We're already more anxious about this guy than we ever were with the space rats.
Domo,
They go to the planet Domo,
the ninth.
on the date in question, but even after Avon plays a stranded victim, loses his bracelet, is taken prisoner, meets another prisoner, is put on auction, gets his bracelet back, is nearly made Servalan's love slave, and manages to escape with Dana's help, and takes his prisoner friend with him, they realise their preemptive strike has been useless, as Cancer has already left the planet. This entire opening 15 to 20 minutes ends up being nothing but filler, as it amounts to absolutely nothing. In fact, given that Servalan and Avon come face to face, which obviously flies in the face of the grand Cancer-centered plan, you get the impression we're back to the end of Season 1 techniques of combining two stories together to get us up to 50 minutes. There's a little more effort here to make us accept that this is one story, but still. Anyway, they happen across Cancer's ship, because plot, and not for the first time in Blake 7, teleport aboard, perfectly aware it's a trap, because bad plot? To be honest, I'm underselling what is actually a half-decent episode. Kind of. But the aforementioned reason for wanting to destroy your television is only half a scene away, and makes you wish Avon had done the obvious thing and just blasted Cancer's ship out of existence when he had the chance. I refer, of course, to the agonisingly irritating Piri, the not very pretty face that somehow manages to woo Tarrant and to a lesser extent Nebrox, this week's Dead Man Walking. Piri even suggests that Tarrant and Avon are fighting over her. Avon's reaction to this is unintentionally hilarious, but extremely welcome.
Don't fight over me, please.
You remember, you are just a passenger on this ship. Your unnecessary emotion only clouds the issue.
And anyone who still thought Sulin hadn't earned her Blake 7 wings will be eternally indebted to her for slapping Piri across the face. For those who haven't endured this torture and don't know what I'm talking about, I will explain. Piri is a former slave, purchased by a Kenny Everett impersonator who is also the assassin Cancer, who has been hired by Servalan to bump off the Scorpio crew. She has been purchased by Kenny Cancer to help him celebrate a job he has. Vague indeed. She is left over after Tarrant and Avon apprehend Cancer and spends the rest of her time as the lightly voiced, ditzy, stupid, acts about 30 years younger than she actually is, woman-stroke-girl, and when she starts getting hysterical, which is around 70% of the time, she breaks out into atrocious crying acting, whinging and uttering these increasingly irritating noises as the ever-deepening crisis descends upon the group.
what is that terrible noise?
It's a little difficult to explain. Perhaps you'd better come over and see for yourself.
The low level of acting that Caroline Holdaway portrays as Piri is blatant, especially when compared against the regular cast, who, for all the faults of season 4 thus far and accusations of excessive ham, far and above exceed the titular damsel in distress. Richard Herndl as Nebrox, who dies about midway through, demonstrates his considerable credentials as he has done numerous times before. Even the half-dozen lines given to John Wyman as Cancer afford him the right to praise, where none will be heading towards Holdaway. It's a difficult part to play, doubtless, but she was afforded little sympathy by the regulars, and even the minor, supposedly less extraneous aspects of her acting are clearly below par. If the part had been less irritating, the issue would not have been as big, but it was, and therefore it is. There's then the shock twist, which doesn't feel that shocking for some reason, that being that Piri is in fact Cancer, and the whole situation has been planned by her and Servalan from the start. They're a credit to their sex.
Congratulations, Cancer. You're a credit to our sex.
One of the more cringing lines of the series. And this raises something that may be seen as a controversial suggestion. But is this episode perhaps more sexist than any of the Ben Steed stories we've had?
Come on, woman. Come on.
I'm really stupid, aren't I?
She's merely a helpless little child.
You enjoyed that, didn't you?
There are two classic ways of dealing with an hysterical woman. You didn't really expect me to kiss her, did you?
Of course, you know what this is about, don't you? It's simple female jealousy.
Oh, terrific! If two men don't like each other, that's a rational judgment. If it's two women, what else could it be but jealousy?
You could see the way you're behaving.
I mean, at least Sulin stands up for herself when Tarrant makes this observation. But this whole motif of Avon and Tarrant being played by a pretty face, of a woman getting one over a man, not enough that Cancer was not the first person we were led to think it was actually this person, and this person happens to be female. Isn't that enough? Apparently not. Let's ramp up the fact she's a woman so you can't avoid it, while we as an audience recoil in embarrassment. On the subject of this reveal, this twist, it doesn't feel right. Not only was Holdaway not credible as Piri, she's even less so as a brilliant assassin. The emotion is toned down, the relaxed aura should come in, but it's just as wooden as before, if significantly less grating. Nail on the head time, Caroline Holdaway is entirely miscast in this role. The first 15 to 20 minutes on the slave planet Domo are not entirely without criticism either. While Betty Marston is glorious in the role of Verlis, her presence and the annoying Arabic music that plays throughout the auction scene makes it feel more comical, and the costumes and Egyptian feather fanners reduce the seriousness and the credibility of this act. Indeed, this section feels very separate from the rest of the episode. The plot feels like it's moving along at a lick, but takes something of an awkward lunge when we leave the planet's surface and happen upon Cancer's ship. That said, much like Headhunter, this is a marked improvement from the god-awfulness we've been subjected to previously. Like I mentioned before in that review, the main cast are back in form, their exchanges and deliveries are more refined than the opening few episodes. It isn't as good as Headhunter, but this is still part of the turning point in Season 4. We are starting to leave the Drek behind. The plot is somewhat clunky, but still fast-paced. The dark and dingy horror theme isn't Blake 7, but still works for the episode, and builds up the tension. And while the ridiculous Piri, her ridiculous spider, and the ridiculous death cry of Nebrox are only some of the reasons this episode won't make the classic leagues, it's still worth watching. Sulin again starts to emerge on her own. It's all happening about half a season too late, but at least she's elevated from merely being a hanger-on. Regrettably, the damage is done, and salt is then rubbed in with Piri, arguably one of the worst characters devised, written, and acted in Blake 7. That concludes my review on Assassin. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like this video, please share this video, please subscribe to my channel, and please check out my other Blake 7 episode reviews. And I think I'm a credit to this channel. I'm the only one who does this channel. Oh well, cheerio.